Situation. News Channel 5 is airing this special edition of America Tonight. Stay tuned. Entertainment Tonight will follow this program at 11:30.
Now, a special hour-long edition of America Tonight. The deadline is here. Are we a half hour from war? Will Iraq move first? We'll go live to Israel, Saudi Arabia, Baghdad, the Pentagon, the White House, and Amman, Jordan. A new report pinpoints likely Iraqi terrorist targets in the United States. Warnings are already spreading across the nation. And new waves of dissent as the war deadline arrives. From CBS News, this is America Tonight, with Dan Rather and Charles Carrault in New York and Leslie Stahl in Washington.
Good evening. The minutes are ticking away. Midnight is the time appointed by the world for Iraq to leave Kuwait. And as far as we can tell, not one of the 545,000 Iraqi soldiers in that little country has budged. So now they face 680,000 U.S. and allied troops authorized by the UN to attack anytime after the next few minutes have passed. We will be here with you to see the deadline come and go. The diplomats are talked out, exhausted and despairing after doing their best. Western ambassadors have left Baghdad for their safety, and tonight Iraq's ambassador to the United States, Mohammed al-Mashat, left Washington.
We do not want war. We have said it time again. We will not be the first one to attack at all. We are only defending ourselves. But if we are attacked, then God knows where the flame will reach.
God knows where the flame will reach. Whether or not Iraq's insistence that it won't strike first can be believed, the sand is running out of the hourglass now to the midnight deadline. High alert in the sand on both sides of the line across Saudi Arabia and its desert. Important to note that President Bush has not said he's decided to strike. If and when the president does give the order to use force, it would go through the chain of command at the U.S. Defense Department, where David Martin is watching and waiting and has the latest for us now. David?
Dan, there are no signs of any unusual activity here as this deadline approaches, but that's not surprising because midnight here is 8 a.m. in the Persian Gulf, and I think it very unlikely that the U.S. would decide to strike during daylight hours because the pilots of those first aircraft over Iraq will be counting very heavily on the cover of darkness. Now, it's always possible for Saddam Hussein to decide to strike first as soon as this deadline expires, but I think as far as the United States is concerned, it will be another 10 hours till darkness comes again and conditions are right.
Thanks, David.
Bob Simon is standing by in Saudi Arabia now with the U.S. forces there. Any doubt in your mind, Bob, that there's about to be a war?
I have program.
Hello, Bob Simon.
Dan, the midnight deadline is 8 in the morning here, and that's just minutes away. And I never knew that it could be so chilling in the desert. The mood here is very ominous and very expectant. Saudi and Kuwaiti officials report all sorts of rumors that the war will start in 12 hours and 36 hours. I don't set much store in any of them, but the overwhelming feeling here is that it will start soon, that the political advantages for President Bush in starting it soon by far outweigh the military disadvantages in starting it that soon. The armed forces, the forces on the ground, may not be at their full peak yet, but the Air Force is ready to strike, and there's very little doubt that they will do so. There were reports also that the Air Force was especially busy overnight, that they were flying out of all their bases up and down the Saudi coast just to keep the Iraqis on edge. The sense here is that the Iraqi war aims will be to hit the three things that they know America cares about. They'll want to cause massive American casualties. They'll want to hit the Saudi refineries. They'll want to hit Israel. And the awful thing from the American point of view is that they may be able to do these things and, in fact, win the war from their point of view without ever having won a single battle. From the American side, what the Americans have to do in this, as the deadline approaches, the aims become even more daunting, the Americans have to achieve such a delicate balance that it's very difficult to see how they can accomplish it all. The Americans not only have to defeat the Iraqi army and liberate Kuwait, so to speak, but they have to do it very quickly. They have to do it without inflicting massive civilian casualties that would lead to an awful situation in the Arab world if the Americans did that. They have to do it, of course, without suffering heavy American casualties, as without awful political consequences in the United States. And they have to do it, they have to diminish Iraq without destroying Iraq, without demolishing Iraq. No one in this region wants to see Iraq come out of this without any power at all. Charles?
Dan, as we know, folks in Tel Aviv have been issued gas masks. Let's go there now and ask Tom Fenton whether he sees any sign of them on this fateful night. Tom?
Well, Charles, the Israelis are expecting or prepared for the worst, I should say, and hoping it won't happen, but they fear that the Iraqis may not wait to be attacked by the coalition in the Gulf and may launch a strike against Israel preemptively in an attempt to turn this into an Arab-Israeli war. So they're prepared.
Tom, could you see any sign of fear? The Israelis are not notoriously fearful people. Were people getting out of town last night?
No, on the contrary, this country has been surprisingly calm. None of that somber mood I hear described in other capitals. Everyone, or almost everyone, has been issued a little box. I've got one here at my feet that contains a gas mask and a syringe with atropine in it. It's an antidote to nerve gas. Everybody has been instructed in how to take cover and what to do in case of a chemical warfare attack. And the Israelis have just announced that the schools will all be closed until Sunday. But no, there's no panic. And in fact, one of the odd things is that hundreds of Soviet immigrants continue to arrive here. More than 400 Soviet Jews flew in yesterday, and they were immediately given gas masks, and hundreds more are expected to arrive today.
Tom Fenton in Tel Aviv. Thanks. Leslie?
Charles, Iraq declared today that a furnace of hell awaits anyone trying to dislodge its 545,000 troops from Kuwait. Is Saddam Hussein preparing for a preemptive strike? Joining us, Congressman Les Aspin, chairman of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, what do you know about the possibility that Saddam Hussein will strike Israel before we launch any kind of attack at all?
I think that might be a strategy. I think it might be a very smart strategy from Saddam Hussein's standpoint. Strike Israel and strike Israel only. That means that the retaliation which comes from the United States, and we hope at that point would come from our Arab allies, would look like we're going to war to save Israel, and that would put the Arab allies in a very tough spot.
Let me ask you if you have a sense of how much warning we'd get. I understand that our intelligence over the missiles that they would launch to attack Israel is pretty good. What kind of warning would we get?
The missiles that the Iraqis have are liquid-fueled missiles, not solid fuel, liquid fuel, which means that takes about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours at a time to load them and get them ready. So if you see them coming up and loading up the missiles and fueling up the missiles, you should get warning. Now, that doesn't mean that they might not have some fully fueled missiles hiding under a bridge somewhere. It's a very dangerous thing to do, but Saddam Hussein is not particularly concerned about the safety of his soldiers. The surprise attack could come if they had liquid-fueled missiles already fueled up, hiding under a bridge.
We don't know whether they do or not.
We do not know whether they do or not. But if they use the normal missiles on the launching pads, we would have several hours of warning.
Okay. Do you have any sense that our military people are working on an assumption that he would launch a preemptive strike in the next day or so?
I don't think they have a presumption one way or the other.
What about our attacking? What about the timetable that you know or think President Bush is working under here in his own mind?
I don't know, and nobody knows. Very few people know. President Bush and a few people around him. My guess is that what they said at the beginning of the show from Saudi Arabia was correct, that it's unlikely to happen during daylight hours. It might not happen for a couple of days yet. One indicator is that the French National Assembly is meeting to endorse the use of force by the French forces, and they're meeting on Thursday. That might postpone it till Friday.
But
we're talking in the next few days, I believe.
Next few days. The president keeps saying, or the White House keeps saying, sooner rather than later. Is that because of military pressures, diplomatic pressures, or is that because of political pressures? Every day that goes by, the protests seem to build across the country. Do you get a sense that he's under that kind of pressure?
I don't think it's domestic pressure that's at work here. I think it's more the general pressure that we've set a deadline, the deadline has come. If we want to make sure that Saddam Hussein does not come out a victor in this process, therefore you can't wait much beyond January 15th.
Now, the last time you were on this broadcast, only a few days ago actually, you said that you thought, based on the war plan that you'd seen, that the attack we launched would be mainly by air at the beginning, that you thought we'd have a rapid victory with few casualties. There are Air Force commanders who are beginning to say they're not so sure of that. Are you still confident?
I'm confident. The air power, the air war, which will begin at the beginning, work from the air power to the ground forces. First few phases, Air Force only. The difficulty of getting the Iraqi Air Force is that they are heavily fortified in revetments if they stay on the ground. If they come up in the air, they are very, very vulnerable. If they stay on the ground, of course, they don't do them any good.
Well,
so
they might stay on the ground.
They might stay on the ground, but then, of course, if they stay on the ground, it doesn't do Iraq any good.
But, you know, these Air Force commanders in Saudi Arabia say that they have a lot of respect for the missiles they have, the anti-aircraft missiles, the Soviet-made, the French-made missiles, to knock out our planes, and that they're expecting heavier airplane losses on our side than you and other
well, I don't know.
the Pentagon have predicted.
They didn't address the issues of Air Force casualties directly and how many we were predicting or how many the Pentagon was predicting. But they're right to be cautious. They're right to not underestimate an enemy. I'm glad they're saying that. I do believe that they are a lot better than the Iraqi pilots, that our equipment is a lot better than the Iraqi equipment. The allies we've got are better than the Iraqi pilots, and we outnumber them.
Okay. Congressman Les Aspin, thank you.
Thank you.
Dan?
Thanks, Leslie. We're going to make an effort now to go live to Baghdad and our veteran CBS News correspondent, Alan Pizzi. Alan, are you there?
Yes, Dan, good morning. I think it's morning. As I look out the window, I can see about 25 feet. That's the same way it was yesterday. The fog will probably burn off in a half an hour. No, not a half an hour, maybe 3-4 hours, and it should be a nice spring day. But it's not a day the Iraqis have been looking forward to. By late yesterday afternoon, the streets here were just about deserted, and last night restaurants and nightclubs were absolutely empty. In the windows of apartment blocks, you can see tape going up across the glass to help it prevent it from shattering. The Iraqis are pretty war-hardened people, but the ones we've been speaking to said they'd hoped that that kind of expertise was a thing of the past. Now you get the feeling they're resigned to a fate they know they can neither control nor even influence. And some of them, perhaps it's out of desperation, cling to the hope of patriotism. They tell themselves that this is the only thing they can do. They're defending their homeland. They're the ones that are the victims, and they must fight. But for the first time in my experience here, and it's not inconsiderable, people are also openly expressing fear and doubts. Young men who served in the war will say to you, our lives are over, they're finished, they've been wasted. No one here ever seriously thought that Saddam would back down before the deadline, and I have to say no one thinks he's going to back down either after the deadline, which is, by my watch, in 17 minutes.
Alan, let me follow up on that. A few days ago when I was in Baghdad, there was a sense that perhaps, just perhaps, Saddam Hussein would let the deadline itself pass and then quickly move to some new initiative of his own, operating perhaps through the Algerians, some sort of, quote, Arab effort, unquote. Do you see any signs of that anywhere, any indications of that possibly happening?
Dan, there's not the slightest indication. It's certainly something that everyone here will occasionally mention and rather hopes for, but last night we spoke to the Minister of Information, and he just asked about other initiatives. He just laughed and said, we're here, and we will fight, and we will win. And they have this strange attitude that they're now openly admitting that the United States is technologically superior to them, and they admit that they're going to be mauled. But they just say, we're going to do it. No one has offered us anything that we want to talk about. There just doesn't seem to be any hope that these people want to discuss anything. That's what they tell us. They could be that could be disinformation for all I know, but I certainly don't have that feeling inside.
Alan Pizzi, live from Baghdad. Alan, take care of yourself. Coming up next on America Tonight, Iraq's threat to spread terror in America, and later, Americans who dissent and demonstrate against President Bush's policy in the Gulf. So stay here with us.
Why do I enjoy healthier Alpine Lace, low cholesterol and low sodium Swiss low cheese? Because it tastes so good. And now it's even lower in fat.
The healthy and tasty Swiss low cheese tastes so good from Alpine Lace.
Okay, so I paid a little more to stay in this motel. But hey, it's got this lovely pool.
Why pay for a pool you can't use? Next time, hit the roof. Red Roof Inns.
You know, my mom says you can get a really bad burn on a day like this.
Right now, for every night you stay at a Red Roof Inn, we'll give you something very special to drive away with when you check out. A brand new Lincoln. Get $5 cash back for every night you stay through February 2nd.
You're pure, you're natural, you're one of a kind. You're my ivory, baby. You're pure, you're soft, you're just the right touch. You're my ivory, baby.
Baby your skin with Ivory. Ivory's mild, gentle, 99.44% pure.
You're my ivory, baby.
Now save on Rogers and Hammerstein musicals when you buy either Ivory product. Details at participating stores.
A night for Excedrin PM.
Today was sure no Mother's Day.
She hit me first.
It's expired.
Daddy let me.
The company's moving us, so?
So I can't sleep and my head aches.
When just a pain reliever isn't enough, you want Excedrin PM. Strong aspirin-free headache medicine plus a second ingredient to help you sleep. Tonight, Excedrin PM. Headache medicine, and it helps you sleep. Also in caplets and liquid.
New Alpine Lace American Slices.
Tastes so good.
Low cholesterol and 50% less sodium.
Tastes so good.
2/3 less saturated fat.
Healthy and tasty American. Tastes so good from Alpine Lace.
Wednesday, showdown in the Gulf. Americans at home, Americans on the front and on alert. What's next? Dan Rather anchors a special edition of 48 Hours. Then, a drug-related death.
What happened?
Suicide.
Leads McCabe into the heart of a corrupt union underworld.
You're a murderer.
On Jake and the Fat Man, Wednesday. A nightmare. A cop must face down a murderous madman at 30,000 feet.
A stray bullet could bring down the plane.
Top Cops, Thursday.
With the deadline upon us, the reality and fear of a possibly imminent war is beginning to sink in the halls of power here in Washington, in the homes everywhere in the country, but nowhere more than in the Saudi desert and on the ship stationed off what could be the battle zone. Martha Teichner reports.
The USS Wisconsin tests its readiness. Now the talk is all of readiness, but how ready is not the only question. There is also ready for what? Readiness for a real war, the kind this great hulking World War II battleship has known, but most of its crew has not.
It's not a fun job. Wars aren't fun. People do get killed, but that's our job, and we'll do it to the best of our ability.
There is no more obvious symbol of the ominous, relentless march toward war than the Wisconsin gearing up, with her 16-inch guns that can flatten a village from 20 miles away. But this time the Wisconsin is also carrying Tomahawk missiles encased in their launchers, so new they have only been test-fired, like the men, untried in battle.
To go up there and push that button to actually launch Tomahawk, there's some emotions given in there, but when the time comes, we'll all do our job.
Gun 4 ready for recheck.
Gun 4 ready for recheck.
Back home in Iowa, these Marine reserves don't have to blink sand from their eyes before firing their guns.
Fire!
It never occurred to them that they might actually have to go to war someday.
And your recruiter never tell you about this. Just come on in, get the GI Bill.
Not even now has the prospect of battle sunk in.
I don't think it'll really hit me until I first call that first signal over the headset. Fire mission. When you realize that, we're going to be shooting at somebody else.
At the other end of the firing range, Marines from Tampa have their own definition of ready.
I think it's time to act, time to do something. This is what we're here for. And it's obvious that Saddam Hussein is not going to pull out of Kuwait. So it's got to be done.
But coming to terms with actually doing it isn't the same thing as running around the desert for practice.
It never really hit us that I was leaving until I was gone. The morning that we left. So I feel like the minute that this combat situation kicks off, everybody it's going to be a whole new ball game here.
As the midnight deadline closed in on them, the Marines from Tampa got what they knew would probably be their last mail from home for a long time. The last mail before they confront the full reality of the war they never expected to fight.
That's good.
For America Tonight, Martha Teichner in Saudi Arabia.
We have made the point that the soldiers who are going to fight this war are not the children of privilege. By and large, they are young men and women who enlisted from the small towns and the black communities and the barrios, looking for opportunity and an education. East Los Angeles is another of the places they come from. Laverne Avenue has given more than most American streets to this war. So there are a lot of parents here in the barrio worrying about their children far away in what they call El Golfo Persico. Timothy Reyes left home to join the Navy.
They say there will be a lot of casualties, but like my son said the last time, Mama, don't cry. We know that we're here because they're not as free as we are. They don't have the democracy and the freedom. Oh, hi, sweetie. How are you?
Rachel Reyes and her husband Steve take strength from all the other parents in the neighborhood who are worrying too. Irene Chavez never thought there'd be a war when her son John joined the Marines.
Well, I'm angry, but I have to support him because that's his wish. Ever since he was in the 4th grade, that was all he played in the backyard. Army man, but I thought he'd get over it.
Delia and Frank Ortiz's son Daniel joined the Army about a year ago.
I think the closer it gets, the more nervous you get because when I see especially Hussein and Bush, being here in East LA reminds me like two gangs. It's scary because it looks like two fools and your sons can die for it and your daughters. And you say, you know, why?
I'm proud to be an American, of course, and I'm proud of what John's doing, if there was a real reason for it.
I tell them, you're fighting for your family, you're fighting for your country.
If there is a fight, the warriors will be young men barely grown up, whose parents can no longer protect them from harm.
I just wish I could hold him in my arms and hide him in a closet or something, but I mean, I can't do that.
Steve and Rachel Reyes play and replay the tape their son recorded aboard USS Saratoga. They hear the voice of a brave sailor and the voice of their little boy, who's a long way from home.
I want to tell you guys, please, don't worry, don't cry no more, because it's kind of hard hearing you guys cry, you know, and it just makes me worry about you guys, and it makes my job a whole lot tougher than it already is. So please, don't cry no more, okay?
They are awfully young, aren't they? And with hardly any experience of war in that whole armada over there.
That's true, Charles, but in the time we've spent with them, including the most recent time, you get the impression that if, God forbid, they have to, they'll give a very good account of themselves. We'll have the latest from Wyatt Andrews at the White House coming up next as the clock ticks down to 0. The UN-ordered deadline for Saddam Hussein to pull out of Kuwait is now just moments away.
Hello. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm having a dinner party and I've run out of coffee.
Come in.
Thank you.
Would Taster's Choice be too good for your guests?
Oh, I think they could get used to it.
It's a very sophisticated coffee.
They have very sophisticated taste.
Do they?
Yes. Well, I must be getting back.
Savor the sophisticated taste of Taster's Choice.
So have you met your new neighbor yet? Oh, I've popped in for coffee.
This toothpaste will blow you away. Wow. With a breath freshener that's a brush of fresh air. Wow. It's Aqua Fresh Extra Fresh with a breath freshener that beats the leading brand. Aqua Fresh Extra Fresh. It's a brush of fresh air.
Hello, I'm Dan Rather. The deadline is upon us. Thousands of American warplanes are poised in the desert and at sea, ready to strike. Now the big question, when and where will the Allied war machine first go into action? And will it? Complete coverage of the crisis in the Persian Gulf tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
Wednesday,
Who gets custody of the couple's 6 fertilized eggs?
a mother fights for her young.
You take one step and they're gone.
WIOU.
America Tonight will continue.
If I had a Z, it'd be silver. No, black. And I'd take it to a racetrack. Hold it. Nah, drive it cross country. That's what I'd do. Wait, Germany. Yeah, now that'd be epic. Running a Z flat out on the Autobahn. Too bad you can't drive to Europe.
Want to see better? Start with an eye exam at Horner Roush. Select a frame. Decide on a contact. Both are ready like 60. Get 2 for the money, the same money that is, at Horner Roush. If it's time to see 20/20, you're on your way. And with a year's guarantee, there's more to see. Get yourself over to Horner Roush today. Do not stop at go. See Horner Roush Optical for eyeglasses in about an hour.
How do you tame a hungry halfback? Get him to McDonald's for a Big Mac sandwich, large fries, and a Coca-Cola Classic in a 21-ounce cup. He'll purr like a pussycat and get 50 cents toward his next purchase at McDonald's. Gain some yardage, too, by rushing to McDonald's for your Big Mac sandwich, large fries, and a Coca-Cola Classic in a 21-ounce cup. And receive a token worth 50 cents toward your next food purchase at McDonald's. For food, folks, and fun.
I couldn't wait to call in my Toyota story. I play hard in the outdoors, but I need a truck that I can depend on to get me there. My Toyota's got 123,876 miles on it and still plays as hard as I do.
I'm in the delivery business. My Toyota truck has 352,917 miles on it. This is our bread and butter, this truck right here. If it's not running, I don't go to work, and we don't make any money that day.
I love what you do for me, Toyota.
News Channel 5. More news, more experience, more often.
This special edition of America Tonight continues with Dan Rather and Charles Kuralt in New York and Leslie Stahl in Washington.
The U.S. government is taking the threat of terrorism extremely seriously. Law enforcement agencies around the country have been warned to be on alert. At the White House today, security was noticeably tightened as it was at other official buildings. Correspondent Deborah Potter joins us. Deborah, what other measures is the government taking?
Well, Leslie, the FBI has just completed a security survey of potential terrorist targets around the country. Targets like utilities, including nuclear power plants and transportation systems and military installations. All of them are now under increased protection. Officials also have confirmed that they are targeting a potential terrorist threat. Some 3,000 Iraqis who have overstayed their visas in the United States. Now, officials do not believe that all of these people are potential terrorists, but they want to find out. The FBI is looking for them to discover exactly who they are and why they're still here. And if they don't have a good reason, they could be deported.
Deborah, has the FBI come up with any specific threats? Have they apprehended anybody, anything like that?
Well, according to the FBI, at least half a dozen very real threats have been linked to the crisis in the Gulf, and there have been some incidents averted over the past few months. And we do know that one person is in jail in New Jersey accused of conspiracy to assassinate public officials.
Okay, thank you very much, Deborah Potter. Dan?
Thanks, Leslie. Deadline hour in the desert. What could be the crucial hour of a decision for war or peace in Washington and in Baghdad. The United Nations midnight deadline for Saddam Hussein to quit Kuwait or else has arrived. President Bush has said that as of this hour, Saddam Hussein is subject to the use of force by the hundreds of thousands of American servicemen and women and other allies arrayed against him in and around the Persian Gulf. As we look at this live picture of the White House in Washington, the questions, when or will President Bush give the actual order? When or will Saddam Hussein strike? And will Saddam Hussein try to strike first? The lights are burning late at the White House, where correspondent Wyatt Andrews is standing by. Wyatt?
Dan, as of this moment, and barring some sort of preemptive strike by Saddam Hussein that we have reported on in this broadcast, there is no indication right now that this war starts tonight. By all indications that we usually gauge things here, the president is not in the Oval Office as far as we can tell. No top advisors summoned. And in fact, his chief spokesman, Marlon Fitzwater, left at normal business hours tonight, saying that he expected the president to be in bed at this deadline hour. Still, Dan, at the same time, it's also true that the White House is operating on a policy of if there is war, it comes sooner rather than later, and that the go or no-go order could come literally at any time. We should point out that this is much different, too, than the Panama invasion, which is the only other precedent that we have in the Bush administration, where the very existence of the invasion force during that time was a well-guarded White House secret for up to 2 days. That's different this time. The invasion force is in place and simply awaiting the cue, the word to go or no go. Unusually, then, we are assured here that when and if the president should order a military attack, major news organizations that cover the White House on a regular basis will simply be called to return to the White House, and as I speak now, there is no such notification. So whether this takes days or hours or weeks even, and as the president mulls over decisions that, or factors that only he is privy to, Dan, it appears that if only for tactical surprise, perhaps we are in for a wait.
Wyatt, from the time of Joshua through Alexander and Caesar, what people least expect when it comes to war and threats of war often happen. Around the White House, are they surprised that it's come to this?
I think the clear answer to that is yes, Dan. You can go back to the original miscalculation going all the way back in August that Saddam Hussein was massing his troops on the Kuwaiti border if only to gain an advantage in the oil price negotiations he had ongoing with Kuwait. But it's more than that. Very senior officials here have pointed to his rape of Kuwait and said if the man is really wanting to get out of there, why is he taking everything with him? So I don't think they figured they would reach tonight in quite this way.
Wyatt Andrews at the White House. Let's go back now to the Pentagon Live and our Defense Department correspondent, David Martin. David, what are the signs of war? What telltale signs should we look and listen for and be sensitive to tell whether war is actually going to happen?
Well, Dan, I think now that the deadline has passed, there's going to be an increase in the U.S. and Allied air activity over Saudi Arabia, some of it for real, some of it faked by electronic means. And this will try to create a noise pattern of activity that will occupy all of the Iraqi air defense network and will keep them preoccupied so that if and when the real strike is ordered, it will look no different. The Iraqi scopes will look no different than they have for the past few days, looking at all this air activity and much of it just bogus electronic noise that we're going to be throwing at them probably.
David, there's been some talk that in the air war, which will be the first edge of the wedge in any actual combat, that the United States plans extensive use of the Tomahawk missiles, a form of the cruise missile, fired from the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. Can that be?
I'd be surprised if it was fired from the Mediterranean, because you'd have to go over Syria, and these things have never been used in combat, and I'm not sure they fully trust it to go over a quote-unquote allied country. I think most likely from the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf.
David Martin at the Pentagon. Charles?
The King of Jordan, who has worked so hard to keep this day from coming, told his people today to prepare for imminent catastrophe. We'll go to Amman next.
Roger just can't stop talking about the terrific taste of new Arm & Hammer Dental Care Gel. Right, Roger? Mm-hmm. It has the cool taste of freshly picked mint. Doesn't it, Roger? Mm. And it has the baking soda our dentist recommended. We'll never go back to our old gel. Will we, Roger? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. New Arm & Hammer Dental Care Gel or paste from the baking soda experts. Anything else you'd like to add, Roger? Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You know,
Lots of margarines and spreads say they have a buttery taste, even when there's no butter in them. Except here. Kraft Touch-A-Butter spread's got real butter in it. Read the label, and you'll see it's got just a touch of rich, creamy butter. So when Kraft Touch-A-Butter says buttery taste, believe it. Kraft Touch-A-Butter. A touch of real butter makes a real difference.
Later on Night Watch, standoff in the Persian Gulf crisis. The deadline is here. Is there any path left other than war? That story and more on CBS News Night Watch.
Stay with us for more America Tonight.
To an authentic German baker to bring you the best strudel.
Guten Morgen.
Presenting Pillsbury Toaster Strudel Breakfast Pastry.
Von den Freezer.
Delicate strudel bursting with juicy fruit flavors. You just warm.
Und Eisen on den Toppen.
16 layers of flaky, delicate pastry that's so delicious.
Ich sag lieber, I mean, nothing says lovin' like my toaster strudel.
Getting to know you.
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me why you got to know Geostorm?
Well, you just point it and it goes. It's a straight-ahead kind of car. Few sexy curves. A lot of attitude.
Now, well, Storm is one of the fastest-moving nameplates in America. What'd you pay for it?
Promise you won't tell?
Get to know Geostorm right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Furniture Center must clean out, clear out, close out every piece of furniture from last year. And to do it, we've dropped prices to rock bottom during our first ever Operation Clean Sweep. That's right. Every floor sample, one-of-a-kind items, discontinued merchandise, even special purchases have been reduced with savings up to 75% off during this special event. So if you only shop one furniture sale at one store this year, make it Furniture Center's Operation Clean Sweep. Happening now at Nolensville Road, Rivergate, and Whitesbridge.
I got burgers.
Hot dogs?
Nah.
Looking for something different from a fast food restaurant? Welcome to the club. Hardee's introduces the Turkey Club. Fresh sliced turkey breast, crisp bacon, lettuce, and ripe tomato. All sandwiched between Hardee's own multi-grain bun. And it's easy to get into this club because right now the dues are very low. Introducing the Turkey Club sandwich, only at Hardee's.
From almost every standpoint, Jordan's King Hussein is the Middle East's man in the middle tonight. Look at the map, geographically and politically. Jordan and King Hussein sit in the line of fire between Israel and Iraq, between peace and war. CBS News correspondent Doug Tennell is monitoring developments in the Jordanian capital of Amman. Doug?
You know, it wasn't too long ago, Dan, that most people here remained optimistic. It wasn't too many hours ago that they were still being almost entertained by the spectacle of Saddam Hussein, by watching this big Arab strongman on Iraqi TV who would hold the whole world on his very word and who would then crack jokes in the Iraqi dialect that only other Arabs would understand. But this is the land of deals, and when there was no deal, everything changed here dramatically, and it continues to change now. People are becoming afraid. This is the land in between, and the king in between. And all you have to do is look at the map to see that every time that Saddam Hussein threatens to attack Israel, and Israel warns that it will retaliate, what that means is that Jordan will be in between. And so the king said last night that his army is on full alert. There are reports, too, that not too far over the border in Syria, troops have moved into the vicinity of the Golan Heights in the last few hours. And so everyone here is waiting. It's a nation that's holding its breath.
Doug Tennell, thanks. Joining us now for added context and perspective on the war and peace politics of the Middle East, CBS News consultant and our friend Fuad Ajami. Professor Ajami, we've talked about showdown. It's showdown time. Showdown for what?
Well, it's really showdown time. We take a look at this. Take a look at the stakes and take a look at the landscape. We now have a battle for the Arab future. It really is a battle for control of the Arab world. And the tragedy for the Americans, I think, this is a battle between Saddam Hussein and George Bush. This is a showdown between the local despot and the foreign savior. We have gone there because there was no local deterrent to Saddam Hussein. We have gone there because there was no Arab answer to him. There was no Saudi answer to him. There was no Egyptian answer to him. There was no Jordanian answer to him. Our man in Amman, Doug Tennell, tells us that the people in Amman felt excited by Saddam Hussein. It was a political thrill on the cheap. They thought it would never come to war. They would ride with Saddam, and then they would be spared the consequences of war.
This is the hour of decision. We've passed the midnight deadline. Give us some telltale signs to look for over the next 24 to 48 hours.
Well, I think King Hussein, who's a very articulate man and who has a way with language and who understands war and who has been through war, now says, in effect, that the ghost of war hangs over the Arab world. The ghost of war does hang over the Arab world. I think the one thing that people are now still looking for and hoping for, that perhaps if we are to be spared this coming war, that maybe Saddam Hussein will wait past January 15. Will say, look, I never respected this deadline. This was never my deadline. This was a deadline imposed on us by the U.S. This was a deadline that the U.S. imposed on the UN Security Council, and that he can wait 3 or 4 days, and this will be the decent interval. Without this decent interval delivering some magic dividend, I think then we're really looking at this war.
You've studied Saddam Hussein for a very long time. In the few seconds we have left, is there any real viable possibility that he will yet swerve away?
Well, Saddam Hussein is a man who can turn on a dime. His record shows this. And really looking at him, you're looking at a quiet assassin who has both the willpower to go to war, and I think also, should he really choose to save his regime, then he can also find the means to, for a way out.
Fuad Ajami, thanks. Leslie?
As preparations for war escalated today, so did the anti-war movement. Protesters demonstrated in virtually every major U.S. city. When we come back, we'll talk with some anti-war dissenters.
Save the planet. The American Paradise. United States Virgin Islands.
I can really rely on Asper Cream.
Joan McKee suffers from minor muscle pain.
Rub it in here, rub it in good. Asper Cream relieves pain fast, and I don't smell like a medicine cabinet.
Asper Cream, fast pain relief without odor. Asper Cream contains no aspirin.
This itchy rash needs special treatment. Maximum strength cortisone 5, with the medicine doctors recommend most, gets under the itch for soothing relief and help in healing. See, the rash is gone. Use cortisone 5 with the medicine doctors recommend most.
Stay with us for more America Tonight.
And as you make your way in the world and leave behind your years of study, we wish you 4 things. May you make your mark with style and substance. May you find the room to spread your wings. May you go a long way in the world, and may you never lose sight of the value of a dollar.
Chevy Cavalier. No wonder it's America's most popular first new car. Another reason more people are winning with the heartbeat of America.
It's here. It's Fleetown Mall, and it's not like any flea market you've seen before. Shop year-round in an indoor, climate-controlled atmosphere at one of the largest indoor-outdoor flea markets in the Southeast. Fleetown Mall has things you don't find at regular flea markets. Restaurants, arcade, over 100 shops, and always nice and clean. Fleetown Mall is open every Saturday and Sunday from 7 to 5. Take exit 286 off I-40 onto Burgess Falls Road. Go south 2 miles and take a left at Colonial Market. Fleetown Mall is on the right. Call 432-4097.
There is no end of scenarios at this hour for how a war could start. Little in the way of a scenario for stopping a war. Still, people hope and pray, and some people protest, including these people outside the White House tonight holding a candlelight vigil for peace on into the wee hours of the morning. There's plenty of support, of course, around the country for President Bush's policies, but correspondent John Blackstone reports about some of the largest and loudest demonstrations of dissent today that took place out in the American West.
If one reason for going to war is to keep oil flowing, anti-war demonstrators have discovered one way to get attention is to stop traffic flowing. In San Francisco this afternoon, hundreds marched onto the double-deck Bay Bridge and stopped drivers between San Francisco and Oakland for 2 hours. Some didn't even complain.
I'm willing to sit and wait as long as it takes if we get the message across that we don't want war.
Demonstrators in Seattle used a similar tactic, marching onto the city's main freeway during this morning's commute. In Olympia, the Washington state capitol, it was not motorists who were inconvenienced, it was state legislators. When the lawmakers took a break, protesters took over the chamber.
We're going to stay here until someone comes and talks to us.
In Albuquerque, George Bush was burned in effigy. In Berkeley, a new generation took to the streets, much to the satisfaction of a man who was at the center of many Vietnam protests, Wavy Gravy.
These are the good old days. Thank you.
Marchers at the Federal Building in Los Angeles listened to the Vietnam-era Pentagon Papers defendant, Tony Russo.
You are the nonviolent army that is going to stop this war.
But in San Francisco, there were scuffles with police and more than 500 arrests. Demonstration organizers say this is just the beginning. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
We should note that a lot of other people in this world think going to war is a bad idea. 8,000 people marched against the war today in Frankfurt, 25,000 in Milan, 35,000 in Barcelona. We are joined by two American dissenters, Barbara Ehrenreich, writer and columnist here in New York, and Stephanie Atkinson, who refused orders to go to Saudi Arabia with her reserve unit. She's at WCAU in Philadelphia. Thank you both for joining us. Miss Atkinson, I should explain to folks that that shirt of yours says "Out Now." I take it you took part in a demonstration today.
Yes, I did, in Philadelphia.
Why did you do what you did? Why did you leave your reserve outfit?
I felt that this was a matter of conscience, and I had to determine what I really believed and what I really supported, and it came to a moment where I decided that I could not be in a situation where I would be provoked to kill anyone. I believe that killing, war, violence in all forms is morally wrong.
So you became a conscientious objector.
Yes, that's correct.
Any regrets about your outfit being over there and you being here safe?
I feel remorse at that I may lose some friends. I miss them and I wish them safety and I wish that they were home. I don't wish that I was there. I just wish that they were not.
Ms. Ehrenreich, you've been an anti-war activist for some time. What do you have against this war?
Well, it's hard to think of a defense for this war. It's hard to think of a good rationale for it. The president tried a number of rationales out on us, and it was for oil, it was for jobs, it was for democracy. None of them really worked. None of them really held water. I mean, there's not a rationale for this as a war. Yes, Saddam Hussein has to get out of Kuwait. First, George Bush proposed sanctions. Sanctions were working, and then there seemed to be almost a relentless drive to war.
Ms. Atkinson, if you could say anything you want to President Bush tonight, what would it be?
Listen to the people. I think that I and other resistors and the American voice is saying that we don't want a war. There's no reason for our people to be there. I don't think that the way that you earn the world's respect is to wave a big gun. I think that the way to earn the world's respect is to take care of your citizens.
Ms. Ehrenreich, you said Saddam Hussein must leave Kuwait. Do you really mean it? Do you think that he might prove to be a great danger to the world someday if he remains in power?
Well, there are many bad guys in the world who could eventually prove to be a great danger. But the analogy I keep thinking of was that 13 months ago, it was George Bush who invaded a small country to his south. Right. And was censured by the United Nations, and it was called a flagrant violation of international law. Imagine if at that point some other big power in the world decided to bomb the United States to punish us for that action. I mean, it doesn't make any sense what we're doing now. We have nothing. I don't think the American people have anything against the people of Iraq. We feel that they're oppressed by a terrible dictator. And yet, what fills my heart with dread right now is that we are about to bomb them. There's no such thing as a surgical strike. There would be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of civilian deaths. And I think that's what makes us sick, so many of us around this country tonight. It is not going to make us feel bigger and stronger to beat Iraq, which will, be all too easy. And the deaths will hang on our conscience forever unless we can stop this war.
Ms. Ehrenreich, Ms. Atkinson, thank you both for joining us.
Thanks.
Two of thousands of people who were out in the streets today protesting this war. We'll all be right back.
Cleaning
toilets is a lousy job, so I invented 2000 Flushes Blue to help you. It's loaded with detergents, cleans and deodorizes automatically. Up to 4 months. Try my 2000 Flushes Blue or green. Cleans your toilet with every flush.
I'll never get through tomorrow if I don't get some Z's.
Introducing single-dose maximum strength Nitol. Just one will help you fall fast asleep fast. New maximum strength Nitol. Just one Nitol will help you get a lot of Z's.
Introducing Glade Plug-ins Air Freshener. It keeps
on freshening. And freshening.
And freshening. Plug it in, plug it in. New Glade Plug-ins freshens for 30 days. Plug it in, plug it in. Gently, constantly warms this refill cartridge for a full 30 days.
Freshens 30 days, freshens out of your way. Plug it in, plug it in.
After 30 days, just pop in a refill. Try Glade Plug-ins and plug into 30-day freshness.
Plug it in.
The people of CBS News. Dan Rather,
Connie Chung,
Mike Wallace,
Bob Schieffer,
Ed Bradley,
Leslie Stahl,
Morley Safer,
and Charles Kuralt. Experience
CBS News.
Showdown in the Gulf. Americans at home, on the front line, and on alert. What's next? Dan Rather anchors a special edition of 48 Hours Wednesday.
Stay with us for more America Tonight.
Hey, you! Don't hold back! Whee!
Charmin says, don't hold back. Every family needs squeezing. Don't resist. If it's soft, who needs a reason? Everyone should have some squeezing fun. And with squeezable softness, Charmin's the one. So, don't hold back. Everybody agrees. Take that softness and give it a squeeze. So don't hold back, everybody loves a little squeeze.
It is estimated that over 20 million people will battle nighttime colds this year. It's time for maximum strength. Countless hours of rest will be lost, lives disrupted. It's time for maximum strength. Benadryl Plus Nighttime Cold Formula, because even NyQuil doesn't give you all maximum strength ingredients. Relieve your congestion, aches, fever, and sneezing. Get Benadryl Plus Nighttime. Get maximum strength ingredients for the nighttime Cold War.
Kmart presents the portrait package Moms asked for. You said,
I want more big portraits.
So we give you 3 8x10s, 4 5x7s, and a big 10x13. You also wanted
lots of portraits.
So you also get 20 wallets, 15 mini portraits, and 12 all-occasion caption portraits. That's everything you want plus something you need, a free portrait ID card. So hurry and get Kmart's biggest portrait offer ever, 55 portraits.
Including more big portraits.
All for only $14.95.
Looking ahead, now that the deadline has passed, in Baghdad, Iraqis woke up this morning to a radio broadcast, a repeat of a Saddam Hussein address warning that his army is ready for war and that there would be no compromise. With diplomacy apparently exhausted, world leaders made urgent appeals to Iraq to prevent war. Egyptian President Mubarak said, in the name of every father and mother, Iraq should leave Kuwait. We don't know if President Bush read his horoscope on deadline day, but it said, face obstreperous individual and refuse to be intimidated.
Well, at midnight Eastern Standard Time, a little while ago, we tore away the calendar page that said January 15 and passed in that instant from a safe, familiar time into a dangerous and unknowable one. Everybody in the world watched the moment approach with a kind of dread. The last message of the Secretary General of the United Nations to Saddam Hussein began, as 15 January advances and the world stands poised between peace and war, the Foreign Minister of France said late in the day, the fatal moment arrives. A GI in Saudi Arabia, Captain Clint Essery from Indianapolis, said, in our minds, the training stops now, the war starts. We have watched this midnight coming, and now it has passed. The remorseless passage of time, which we usually are too busy to think about, is an ancient theme in the Persian Gulf. A Persian, Omar the tent maker, composed an epigram for this breathless night nearly 1,000 years ago. The bird of time has but a little way to fly, and lo, the bird is on the wing.
And indeed he is, Charles. As we leave you at this hour, the men and women of CBS News Worldwide are standing by to bring you reliable, responsible, and steady coverage day or night of developments in the Gulf and to do their best to explain them. Night Watch will be coming up on many of these CBS stations. There'll be the CBS Morning News. Then Harry Smith and Paula Zahn will be here with CBS This Morning. We'll have the CBS Evening News tomorrow night, of course, and we hope you'll make a mental note, a special edition of 48 Hours about the Gulf tomorrow night. That'll be at 8 o'clock, 7 in the Central Time Zone, and we'll have other special coverage when warranted. Good night, Charles.
Good night, Dan. Good night, Leslie.
Night, gentlemen. Night, everyone.
All right, how many this time? 8 cavities. 14 cavities? I didn't think I had that many teeth. You're gonna have to drill? My parents will be very upset.
Parents today hope their kids won't have to go through what they went through. Luckily, today's kids use the toothpaste more dentists recommend, Crest. The first toothpaste clinically shown to give you protection down to the root of the tooth.
Another great checkup. Yes! Woo, woo, woo. Later, dude.
Crest, the dentist's choice, is the easy choice.
It's been fun.
I meet this old friend. She looks great. So I get motivated. I join the health club, but I can't get with the program. I feel so low energy from this irregularity. But then it hits me. To get in shape on the outside, you have to get in shape on the inside. So I started taking Metamucil. It's a natural soluble fiber, the extra fiber I needed. No harsh chemicals, safe enough to take daily. So now I'm with the program, inside and out.
Metamucil. It can make a daily difference in how you feel. The people of CBS News. Dan Rather.
Connie Chung.
Ed Bradley.
Charles Kuralt.
Charles Osgood.
Paula Zahn.
Mark McEwen.
Harry Smith.
And Mike Wallace.
Experience.
CBS News.
Showdown in the Gulf. Americans at home, on the front line, and on alert. What's next? Dan Rather anchors a special edition of 48 Hours Wednesday.
This week, get 55 portraits, including 3 8x10s, 4 5x7s, and a big 10x13, plus a free portrait ID card. All for only $14.95 at Kmart.
A person who abuses alcohol or other drugs may be spinning out of control. Those who are close can be hurt too, and the anguish can drive a family apart. Tennessee Christian Medical Center knows how to help. Their alcohol and drug dependency program treats the whole family, and the first consultation is free. Stop the cycle before it pushes someone you love over the edge. Call the Center for Addictions at Tennessee Christian Medical Center at 865-2727.
Finally, a light hot dog with all the delicious flavor of the South. Introducing Bryan Light, 85% fat-free with all the flavor of the South.
Larry Brenton with the facts that don't always make the headlines, but probably should. Street Talk, Friday and Sunday night on the 10 o'clock report.
For a printed transcript of this broadcast, send $4 to America Tonight Transcript, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039.
Later on Night Watch, standoff in the Persian Gulf crisis. The deadline is here. Is there any path left other than war? That story and more on CBS News Night Watch.
This is CBS.
And this is our 1991 Chevy S10EL. Let me point out a few features. Electronic fuel injection, power front disc brakes, rear wheel anti-lock brake system, double wall steel, front and rear. 5-speed, full gauges, tinted glass. What do you think?
So, what will I get for this price?
Let me show you.
The 91 Chevy S10EL. For value, more people are winning with today's Chevy truck.
What's the difference between Chi-Chi's and the other leading sauces? Simple. This is where our salsa recipe came from. While we suspect the other leading sauces came from someplace like this.
Gentlemen, shall we manufacture salsa
or oven mitts.
So don't be surprised if ours seems to capture the real Mexican flavor. Bring home Chi-Chi's, salsa that came from a restaurant, not a boardroom.
News Channel 5. More news, more experience, more often.
We certainly are prepared to go on the air and stay on the air as long as necessary to cover the story.
The eyes of the world are on television as the Persian Gulf countdown approaches the stroke of midnight. This is Entertainment Tonight for Tuesday, the 15th day of January, 1991. Hello, everybody. Mary Hart and John Tesh are on assignment. I'm Pat O'Brien. Well, this is the night that billions desperately hoped would never come. It is the midnight deadline that American television networks have been preparing for around the clock. All three networks will air special news reports tonight coinciding with the deadline for Iraq to get out of Kuwait. The president of CBS News is Eric Ober.
We certainly are prepared to go on the air and stay on the air as long as necessary to cover the story. And that could be hours, it obviously could be days, and it could, easily go beyond that into weeks.